I never ever thought I would tell this story, at least in a public forum, but here goes. This is my vampire story.
A woman named Kristy Robinette has recounted her story with what she believes is a vampire. Many decades ago, Kristy lost her job, and she got a job interview at a local business. She goes in to this interview, and immediately she just felt there was something off about the owner of this business that she was interviewing with.
There was something so mesmerizing about him. He wasn't good looking, but he was good looking. It's hard to explain. Like, there was just something strange about him, and he just felt almost hypnotic. And he said, I'm interviewing for a couple more people, and I'll give you a call in a couple days and let you know if you get the job. Okay. I did get the job. A couple days later, he gave me a phone call and he said, I am offering you this job at this pay. And it wasn't bad. The hours weren't bad. The pay wasn't bad. And I said, let me think about it. I had another offer on the table. And he said, please let me know by tomorrow. And I'm like, understood.
So at this point, she calls her mother, who she says was very, very intuitive. And all she tells her mom is, hey, I got an offer for this job. And immediately her mother says, do not take that job.
I told her, and I'm like, I got this job offer, and I didn't even tell her a lot of like the creepiness that this guy kind of gave me. And she's like, Kristy, I have a really bad feeling. Do not accept this job. Do not accept the job. I'm telling you right now, something's not right. Do not accept this job. Now, this is a business that was in the person's family for a long time. It wasn't like a starter company. This person was kind of known in the community. My mom didn't know him, but so it was a substantial, real job. And I'm like, Mom, I don't understand. I need a job. She's like, you're going to get a job offer from that other place that you interviewed for. Just stick it out. Tell this guy no and accept the other job once it comes. And I'm like, this job was actually, it was pretty good.
She decides she's going to listen to her mom. Something doesn't feel right here. Her mom has basically confirmed it for her without even knowing like some of the creepy aspects of this interview, just some of the things that Kristy was feeling. So Kristy calls up the guy the next day and she's like, hey, really appreciate the job offer. I can't take the job. And this man does not respond with, okay, best of luck. A normal thing an employer might say when turned down. He says, I will double your pay.
Really honored, but I'm declining the job offer, and thank you very much for your time. And he's like, I will double your pay. I will double your pay. Now, it already was good pay, but double the pay was a lot of pay. And I'm like, again, something felt really off. And I'm like, sir, I'm so sorry. I'm going to decline. And he's like, I'm going to check with you in a couple days. And there was just something very ominous about the way that he said that. And that night, I ended up having a dream with him in it. And it was very vampire-ish, is the only way that I can describe it. And the business that he was in also spoke volumes for that. So a couple days later, he called me. And I said, again, sir, I've accepted another job. And I did not tell him with whom. And he's like, I will triple your salary. And I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. And he said, I can tell that you are very psychic. And I can tell that you know who I am and what I am. And I think it would behoove you to take this job. So I told him again, no, thank you. And he said, okay.
She ends up taking a job at a cabinet store. She's working as an office manager. And during this time, she keeps seeing the vampire man in her dreams until suddenly he shows up at her new place of work.
Well, guess who showed up at the kitchen store the second day that I started? Yeah, this guy. And it's like he knew that I was going to be there. He's like, hi, Kristy. And I'm like, excuse me, what are you stalking me? Like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm ordering a new kitchen for the business. Like, it was nothing. And he continued to come in my dreams. About a year later, I ended up taking a job at a fireplace store. as an office manager. A couple days into that, this gentleman walks in and says, I need a new fireplace for my business. Now, I'm not going to say everything about the business and everything about him, but you might be able to figure it out with a clue. And that is, he lived above the business. That's all I'm going to say. So he's like, yep, I need a fireplace. And I'm like, sir, I don't understand why you're here. And he continued every time. He's like, would you like to work with me? I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm good.
Kristy worked at this fireplace store for a couple of years, and the vampire man would call sometimes to have his fireplace service. Kristy told her boss about it. Her boss is like, I'm gonna send you out there with the tech as like a joke. And she's like, no. She said there's just something strange about this person, something strange about this man. He's like immortal. That's just the weird feeling she gets from him. She says even if you look at the family lineage, it's like he's been here before. A couple of years pass. She quits the fireplace store. She goes to work for a school district. And guess who shows up?
I ended up quitting a couple of years after that, and I worked for a school district. And guess who showed up? At the admin office. Him. And in the meantime, he's still coming in my dreams. And every once in a while, he's still calling me and asking me if I want a job. And no, my mom had passed away. I'd gotten a divorce. I mean, we are eons into this. And I ended up running into him at a store, and he, like, do you remember everybody you interviewed like one time? Because he either has a really crazy memory, or it wasn't like a stalker. He just wasn't. That wasn't the case. It's just, again, it was very vampiristic. Is that a word? And so I ran into him, and he's like, hi, Kristy. And again, he's like, how are you doing? And it was just very kind of Norman Bates creepy.
Perhaps unsurprisingly, Kristy now works as a psychic medium. She seems like somebody who's very sensitive to spirit. Her mother was very intuitive, and she just fell into this line of work. And it was when she was working on a case with who she claims is a competitor of his that she got a bit of closure, maybe information, I don't know, nightmare fuel with this story.
In the job that I'm in now, I'm a professional psychic medium. I ended up having to go to a competitor of his to work on a case. And we ended up talking about this gentleman and his business. And I didn't say anything, but the owner of this establishment went, just, Kristy, make sure you stay away from, because he's a vampire. And I didn't laugh, and she didn't laugh, and she knew I knew, and I knew she do too. So vampires do exist, and they don't necessarily wear capes. Sometimes they wear business suits, and sometimes they invade your dreams. And I feel as if there's a possibility that my life at that time was a little bit crazy, and it was because of the psychic sort of like vampire energy that he was sending to me, because he was mad that I did not accept a job with him. I would love to tell you more, but I don't want to open up that can of bats.
The fact that this man just kept showing up no matter where she ended up working, like he knew where she was. This is the days, also, she said, before AOL Instant Messenger even. Like, you couldn't keep up with people like that. But it was like he always knew just where to go to find her.